Welcome to a world of thrills, a world of drama, of capes and tights, a world where death is a revolving door. Welcome to the Geek Matrix.
Hello, everybody, to the Geek Matrix DC Comics Review Show, episode number 198. Ooh, we're getting close to number 200. It is just me today. Hi. Brandon is a little bit AWOL, so I'm a little bit worried, but hopefully he will be here soon. And Josh is off on a little family adventure. So, Josh, enjoy. Brandon, hope all is good, bud. Hopefully it is just school. Yeah, he is almost graduated, so I imagine he's a very, very, very busy guy with all the finals he has to do and exams right before he gets that good old diploma, that piece of paper which gives him certification on whatever it is he's doing, because I don't remember off the top of my head. But basically, we are here to talk shop, comics, and otherwise. Basically, we touch everything pop culture these days. You all know the drill. But since it's just me, it'll be a little quick. So, brief bit of news. We have the Eisner Award nominees came out just today, and we have a lot of DC on the list. Some notable names, of course, we have Tom King, Tom Taylor, G. Willow Wilson are all on the list, among many others. G. Willow Wilson, for example, in particular, is on the list for Best Writer for Poison Ivy, among other books. And honestly, she's in my book. She's in the running for me to get Best Writer there, because Poison Ivy is a hell of a book to read. It is so fucking good. And otherwise, we have a brief announcement of a new book coming, most likely following Outsiders, which we will be talking about later today, which is Jenny Sparks, written by Tom King. 6-issue mini coming out later this year with teases that promise more stuff from the Wildstorm universe, Planetary, etc., etc. So if you are like me and you're just loving Outsiders and you don't know much about Wildstorm and Planetary, something to look forward to. If you're like Josh and Brandon, who know those characters inside and out, you hate the idea. And I wish at least one of them was here to talk about it, because they will tell you exactly why it's such a bad idea. But here we are nonetheless. That is happening. And it's something I would say to look forward to for now until we see it, and then we can decide whether it's good or bad. But that is about it for news, so I will now get into some honorable mentions since we're here. First up, we have Sinister Sons number 4. I am loving the hell out of this book. It is so fucking good. I understand the trepidation some people have had going into this, where Kneel Before Zod has not been the most well-received book, and the Sin Sun backups in Green Lantern were not overly thrilling for many people. Very much understandable, but I love pretty much everything Tomasi does. I loved his Super Sons run, and Sinister Sons tying into Green Lantern mythos, specifically with Sinestro, is just right up my alley. So for me, it's great. I'm in love with it, and this one does connect kind of into what's going on in Green Lantern. It does have a pretty strong connection. So if you are a Green Lantern fan and you're enjoying the book by Jeremy Adams, be sure to check out this issue and this series, because there will most likely be major connections coming forward. So for me, that'll be about I'll say an 8.75 out of 10. Batman Dylan Dog number 3. I'll be honest, I have not had an opportunity to dive into this because I still don't know who the hell Dylan Dog is. But I guess if I read the series, I will know who Dylan Dog is. So I don't have much to say about this, but from what I understand, Josh is very much enjoying it. So be sure to check it out, especially if you know who Dylan Dog is. And Red Hood the Hill number 4, very much not for me. We've talked about Red Hood the Hill before. It's a spin-off series from a story arc from one of the best Red Hood books I've ever read that really didn't matter. It's whatever. I'm going to give it a 5 out of 10. It's something to read. It's okay, but the characters just don't do it for me. And that is our honorable mentions for today. That's a fucking record. 5.5 minutes into the show, and we're done news and honorable mentions. It helps when you're the only one here. And with that in mind, we're going to skip the bonus show this week, ladies and gents, folks and germs, people of all ages. Yeah, we're going to skip the bonus show, and we're just going to do all the books in one go in this show. So there's a treat for you, but it will be split up 3 and 3 with commercial break in between. So we're going to start things off with Suicide Squad Dream Team number 3. This is written by Nicole Maines with pencils from Eddie Barrows and Jose Luis, and inks from Ibra Ferreira and Adriano De Benedetto, colors from Adriano Lucas, and letters from Becca Carey. The team is driving across country in Gamora, of course, trying to find Dreamer at the beck and call of Amanda Waller. And for some reason, the rest of my book just decided not to fucking load. They ended up in a car crash, which coincidentally is not too far from where they need to be in order to find Dreamer. And find Dreamer they do, as they find her taking bodies and putting them to sleep so she has bodies to hop around in. And what Dreamer is trying to accomplish is to just stop the hatred, stop the genocide, and stop people with powers being attacked. They try to talk her down, but it does not work, and she heads off to what she realizes at this time is supposed to happen. In one of her visions she saw at this exact time, 11:47 p.m., something big is happening, and she heads off to a school that is being lit ablaze, and she stops the perpetrators, threatens them dearly, nearly kills one, and then is brought down by the Suicide Squad at the time. They talk her down slightly, but as she is about ready to attack, they take her down and bring her in, much to her own chagrin. It's not what she wants, but she realizes everything goes back to Amanda Waller. One issue left to go in this series. It is a countdown to absolute power. We're starting to see major ties to what we know of the event so far. We got some teases from Amanda Waller's panels with the Amazo robots. She had blueprints there. And Dreamer has a lot of things to talk about when it comes to what Amanda Waller potentially could be doing in the future. She wants absolute power. That was actually mentioned in this book. So it was an interesting little nod. It remains to be seen how important this series will be. This little 4-issue mini, I mean to say, will be to the overall story with absolute power. So far, it seems just like setups and teaser, but we've yet to see if it's anything significant at all to what will be going on. So we'll have to see. I was kind of down on this book in the first issue, but with each issue, it's getting more interesting for me. The team is a little bit more cohesive. We have seen Clock King, who was on this team, in various other books featuring Amanda Waller's team going into absolute power. So we know he is 100% towing the company line when it comes to Amanda Waller. The rest are not seen at all. So Suicide Squad being the title of the book, potential for one of them to die? I think so. Most likely Bizarro. So I don't see them killing off Black Alice right now. And I doubt she's going to kill her nephew Archie. Because we barely really had much time with him. He's had some stories here and there, but for at least in the past few years, he's barely been around. I want to see him fleshed out a bit more. So I could see Bizarro being killed off, but I still want to know which Bizarro this is. The whole Bizarro concept is very confusing. Because is it B-Zero? Is it one of Lex's experiments? Is it a Bizarro from Bizarro World? Is it something else entirely? We don't really know. And the Bizarro speak was a little off here, but yeah, whatever. Bizarro speak is confusing as it is. So that being said, I'm going to give this issue with the amazing art a nice round 8.5 out of 10. I know that's not a round number, but I'm giving it an 8.5 regardless. It's getting a lot more fun. One issue to go, so we'll see what happens at the end. Let's hope it ends with a bang. Not a deadly one, just a bang. And our next issue going forward is Batman and Robin number 9. This is, why is my internet so freaking slow? This is written by Joshua Williamson with, oh my god, I'm not even getting the freaking credits. What is going on with the internet today? Load faster, you fool. Hold on a minute, folks. Technical difficulties. I'm not able to see the freaking credits. Shit happens when you're trying to have fun. All right, this is written by Joshua Williamson with art from Nicolas Sismezia and Simone DeMeo on various pages throughout. Colors from Rex Locus and Giovanna Nero, and the cover is done by Simone DeMeo. A letterer is not listed. Uh-oh. That's not good. Being a Batman book, I'm just going to assume it's Clayton Cowles, because he seems to do every Bat book. Yeah. We'll have to see. We'll look it up. All right, so kind of picking up where we left off, Batman has been captured by Man-Bat, and Man-Bat, being the villainous villain he is now monologuing, because that's what villains do. This is a very classic style monologue, just giving away the entire fucking plan to the hero who is chained up in his own Batcave. Man-Bat has his own Batcave. And Batman is trying his best to get out, but he's stuck pretty freaking tight. Meanwhile, at Gotham City High School, Damian and Flatline are having lunch together as Principal Stone walks in, and Damian is filling Flatline in on how he's convinced that the Principal Stone is really his old trainer, Mistress Harsh. Damian says we need distraction so we can get her alone and try to figure stuff out, maybe to get into detention, but not in a way that's obvious. So what Flatline proceeds to do in a way that's not obvious is start a food fight, because if he gets into an actual fight, he's breaking a lot of promises and going to get into some major shit. So a food fight is one way to get straight to detention. So the pair of them get sent into detention with Principal Stone herself, and Damian just buries the lead right away. Details all his info, and she kind of just gives up and just admits it. Okay, fine, I am Mistress Harsh, but the people I've been training now are going to kick your ass. That includes the new bully Shay, as well as various other members of the local soccer team, Shay's buddies, who Mistress Harsh has been training personally. But Damian takes them out with a swift effort. Of course, with the help of Flatline. It was still 2 against 4, but not fair odds for the boys. Damian also just says, yeah, your training is just as it was before. Meh. And that leaves Mistress Harsh with no choice but to hold a gun to Shay's head when she gets electrocuted by a taser. And it's Damian's favorite, or at least Damian's nicest teacher. I don't know, favorite teacher. Might be his favorite teacher, Miss Hall, as she then reveals, or as Damian figures out, that she is really Shush. And she kind of just lets that go as well. Details her own backstory with Tommy Elliott, how he was her mentor. They were in the hospital together, working together. He trained her on all sorts of stuff. It was never a romantic relationship. It was more of a professional relationship. She even covered for him when he needed to go away. But what she didn't know is that when he was going away and she was covering for him, he was going out as Hush. Of course, after Batman took him down, the truth came out, and the hospital found out everything she was doing for Elliot, and she got fired and her medical license revoked, where she then ended up teaching. While she's not highly respected, it is a job. And then she found the cult of Man-Bat, who also took her in, gave her a voice, and gave her an opportunity. But that opportunity, as we now know, is backfiring, as the stuff that Langstrom is doing is kind of against her own judgment. She doesn't want all this bad stuff to happen. She knows that she knows that Batman is captured, and she wanted to find Damian, get him alone, so she could hand him a map, which will basically lead him straight to Langstrom. Of course, at that point, she collapses after the wounds she suffered at the hands of Langstrom last issue. Flatline then agrees to stay behind with Miss Hall and get her better, get her to a hospital and take care of her, while Damian goes out and saves his father. He deciphers the map, which Batman could not do, and then he goes out into Gotham, straight to Langstrom's lair. He enters the cave, finds the cult of Man-Bat, finds Langstrom, finds his father, and then reveals his master plan yet again to Damian. He's the king of monologuing this issue, though I think he's been a king of monologuing this entire fucking run, and reveals that he has laced various bats with a poison or a formula that when they bite somebody, they will transform into bat creatures, making everybody just happy, unstoppable. You'll be the one who saves Gotham, as he puts it. And that's where the issue ends, with a promise that next issue will be action-packed. All right, so art throughout the issue between Simone DeMeo and Sis Mesia. It's touch and go, because I didn't even realize at first. I really should have realized that the art changed so drastically. Maybe I realized it and didn't. Maybe I noticed it and didn't realize it. But I enjoyed the art throughout the issue. Between the two, Simone DeMeo with the dark scenes featuring Man-Bat was perfectly toned. And then having Sis Mesia in the high school with Damien and Flatline, really well done. I liked the art throughout the issue. This issue, story-wise, wasn't that bad for me. This is slowly becoming a Wonder Woman situation where I'm flip-flopping between I like this issue, I don't like this issue, blah, 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 back and forth. Depending on the month that it comes out, I might like it, I might not. Really, I think that's how comics should be, but when you have one long ongoing story, you'd think it would be a little different. But here we are. We do get a lot of... Oh, Brandon.
Hello. What's up?
Hey, buddy. You all right?
No, I'm good. Sorry, my phone died as I was coming back, and I was trying to let you guys know that I was going to be like half an hour late.
Okay.
But yeah.
No worries, man. You saved me. I'll be honest. I started the show myself.
Oh.
Because I wasn't sure what was happening.
Yeah.
And I was just kind of hoping you were okay.
Is Josh not here?
No. He and Holly are off on kind of a... What the hell's the... They're on an adventure.
Oh, okay.
They're on a road trip right now.
Cool. Well, I wish them the best.
Yeah, it's just the two of us. So I've gone through news and the honorable mentions and two books so far, but so I've just about finished Batman and Robin, and I'm just about to finish my own review. But if you want to give your own thoughts about that, for the record, folks, I'm gonna give it 7.5 out of 10 this week.
Okay.
All right, so I did Batman and Robin and Suicide Squad Dream Team.
Okay. Suicide Squad, NA for me, because I did not get a chance to read that one. Batman and Robin, good issue, but I feel like I've kind of spoiled myself by looking at the solicits, because I know that this is the penultimate issue in the Man-Bat arc, so I kind of know that everything is going to be wrapped up next month.
Well, that's why it does say action-packed issue next month.
Yeah, there you go.
That would explain it.
Yep, there you go, folks. But no, I mean, we've talked about this a couple times, but you kind of know when an issue feels like the penultimate issue, where it's like everything's coming together. You know, all the reveals are here. And speaking of reveals, oh my God, did I not fucking call the Shush reveal? Did I not say that Miss Hall was actually Shush, and that what's her face, Principal Stone, was the obvious red herring? Even though I guess maybe she is Mistress Harsh, I don't know. But her being Shush felt way too obvious. So it was clearly going to be the mousy, unassuming teacher. So
I know I got hints about it for myself last issue that Miss Hall was Shush,
Yeah.
because you finally got to see a bit of Shush's hair, and you saw that it was black,
Oh
and
yeah.
then
Right.
even the lipstick was the same,
Yeah.
right?
That was like a kind of clue that I had early on, but I was like, well, maybe it could be a wig, a disguise, or something.
Yeah,
But I don't know. I think once Damien came to the conclusion, I can't remember if it was in issue 2 or 3, where he's like, I'm convinced that my principal is Mistress Harsh, and I'm also convinced that Mistress Harsh is Shush. I was like, no way, too obvious.
yeah. There's no way.
So yeah, I wish I could say I feel vindicated by that, but I don't know. The reveal, like, there's something about sorry, I'm trying to put all my thoughts together, but there's something about like when I guess a writer tries to be clever and make a very obvious red herring that you're kind of looking in the other direction, but you kind of know it's so obvious that you realize it couldn't possibly be that, and you end up figuring it out, and then you're right. Like, it just, I don't know if I explained that at all properly, but I guess
Yeah,
I don't really feel as satisfied with it because I kind of saw it coming. Like, I was like, well, it's not the
it
obvious choice. It's
it was heavily
probably the less
telegraphed.
likely. Exactly. Yeah. Like,
Yeah,
in attempting to not telegraph it, it was very obviously telegraphed, is what I'm trying to say.
yeah. Like,
Yeah.
I think it was Jeremy Adams that when we were interviewing him, he was telling us, and I don't remember who it was that he was talking to. Might have been Brad Meltzer. I could be wrong, but basically was telling him that when you're writing a story with a mystery,
Uh,
you want to leave hints. Maybe it wasn't us. Maybe I'm thinking of an episode of the podcast of a lot. I listen to a lot of Jeremy Adams interviews, but basically, you want to leave hints because you don't want that reveal to be cheap. If you
no.
have a mystery, you want to leave it open for the reader to have an opportunity to guess the answer before you reveal it. So
Yeah.
you want to leave breadcrumbs along the way, and that was shown really well with this whole thing with Kilowog,
Yeah.
and the reveal of his death. But there's also now teases that maybe he's not dead. But with that in mind, like, I could see that Williamson was very much doing this, but
Mhm.
also making it way too fucking easy.
Yeah. And
Yeah.
I can't remember exactly where he might have said this. It might have been like an interview with Comic Pop or something. But I remember Williamson was talking about when he was writing Flash War, or like the prelude to Flash War, and he did the annual like way early in, I don't know, that was maybe like January 2018 or something. And he was like, okay, I know that the big reveal of the what is it, like the time court judge, the judge in the future, is going to be Hunter Zolomon. But obviously no one else knows that, and I've given them no clues. But I remember he said
Yeah.
something like, I posted a picture on Twitter of like of all the Flash books that I was using as reference material. And through that one picture alone, someone was able to figure out that the judge was actually Zoom. So I say this to say that, like, there's always going to be someone, no matter how much you obscure the mystery, and no matter how little you leave clues available to the reader, there's always going to be someone who can solve it. Yes, but there are definitely better ways to kind of hide and obscure the mystery than making it super obvious. So anyway, all this is
Exactly.
my very long-winded way of saying I did like the issue, but the reveal was not super satisfying, and it just kind of felt like standard penultimate. Everything is building up to the big climactic issue where we close out this arc. So I gave this 7.5 out of 10.
Right on. All right. So should we backtrack to the news?
Geez, I
Like, I mentioned two things. I mentioned the Eisner nominees, not all of them, but I mentioned, like, there's a lot of DC stuff on there this week or this year, including G. Willow Wilson, Tom King, and Tom Taylor, for example, as well as many others. So be sure to check those out. That's what I had said.
Yes.
So that's a redux. But I also mentioned if you have other stuff to talk about, that is great. But I brought up a book you ranted about yesterday, which kind of made my afternoon.
I didn't really want to talk about that because it was just it was depressing.
Yeah, we won't have to talk about it because I already did.
Yeah,
but if you wanted to rant and get it out,
well, I can talk more about the Wildstorm stuff when we I guess eventually get to Outsiders. I don't know if you covered that book already.
I have not. I left
okay.
it for last on the off chance that maybe you'd be able to make it. So
Here I am.
you could talk about it because I know you know a hell of a lot more about Outsiders than I do.
Yeah, and that was sort of the reason I wanted to not talk about, for readers who may not have been listening or just joining now. One of the things that Rob had mentioned in the news, I assume, because I can't imagine what else it could be, is that DC is doing a Black Label book on none other than Jenny Sparks, a character very, very, very dear to my heart, and I did backflips, not out of excitement, but more incredulation because I was just like, why? And here's the thing, because I think I had a little bit of misinformation because when Nathan first sent that article, I was under the impression that this was like a book taking place in the mainstream DC universe. So they were trying to fold in all the stuff that had happened with the Authority in the previous Wildstorm timeline into the main DC universe, and we're bringing Jenny Sparks literally back into the timeline and also back to life. That's what I thought it was at first, and I was like, die. I just kind of I misread that, and I didn't realize it was a Black Label book. So it is kind of in its own space. So at the very least, you can kind of just pretend it's doing its own thing and disregard it entirely. I'll probably just check it out of curiosity because, like, I love Jenny and I'm curious to see what they would do. But obviously, I think, yeah, my biggest like complaints were just, why can't you just let Jenny die? Why does everyone have to come back at some point? Why can't we just let some characters be dead? Okay.
Exactly.
I'm still waiting for the 6-issue Uncle Ben miniseries where Uncle Ben comes back. I think
that's the joke. That everyone's like, there's only two people that stay dead in comics: Gwen Stacy and Uncle Ben. I'm like, they both come back.
They've come
Gwen
back.
Stacy's back to life like 3 times over.
Yeah,
obviously not in 616, but like she's been back like 3 times over. Uncle Ben is out there in the multiverse as a Spider-Man.
Yeah, I think honestly the only DC character I can think of that died and has not come back in any form in this, like the original version of the character has not come back in any form, is probably Don Hall, the original Dove, because he died back in Crisis.
I think you're right.
Yeah, I mean there have been
do you count Black Lantern?
Dove. Yeah, not counting the Black Lantern, but like the original Dove from the 60s who died during Crisis has not come back, which is shocking.
No. We've just had Dawn Granger since.
Yeah. And well, I say shocking. There are a couple of characters who are like that, like people who died during Crisis who they've stayed dead. Because I mean, Tomar Ray is the same way. He's not come back, at least not to my knowledge.
And yeah, coincidentally, he did technically die during Crisis because he died in the Green Lantern Aftermath issues of Crisis.
Yeah.
So
yeah, there's still some, I guess, some characters that have remained dead. There are, of course, some of the forgotten titans that no one talks about, like Cole, and I can't even fucking remember the other one's name. That's how important they are. But yeah, no, I don't know. With Jenny, I think the reason it just kind of stung was I said I wasn't going to talk about this. Now I'm fucking talking about it.
So you're talking about it.
I think the thing with Jenny, I'll keep it short, but the thing with Jenny was just that I mentioned it in our Discord, but Jenny was one of the few characters in the Wildstorm universe that I feel like got a really good, if you can call it good, or noble death, where she achieved pretty much most of what she wanted to achieve. Obviously, still had a lot more to do, and felt like the Authority could handle it after her death, but for the most part, like she died doing what she loved, which is trying to change the world and save the world. So I was like, why not let that be? Like the concept itself is not necessarily bad. I guess it's kind of a neat idea seeing, Jenny, the spirit of the 20th century, resurrected in the 21st. How would you process these things? But like, I don't know. I just feel like that would be depressing as hell, which is probably going to be because it's written by Tom King. But all I can think of is like, Jenny dies at the end of the 20th century, even though technically she dies in 2000, not 2001. We're not going to get into that. But she dies the end of the 20th century. like full of hope that her team is going to go off and do great things and save the world. And now she's going to come back to the 21st century, and it's just like a bunch of fucking superheroes fighting supervillains endlessly. She's like, I died for this? Are you serious? I died for a world that doesn't even exist anymore, with a bunch of characters that got folded into a universe that has no idea who they are, some of them, nor of their previous history, only for them to be locked in eternal battles with supervillains for the rest of their lives. I would be depressed as hell if I came back to see that. So it's a neat concept, but I don't know. I just like Jenny. Jenny is a character for me that the only other comparison I could draw is like Starman, the 90s Starman, Jack Knight, who after the 90s Starman series ended, pretty much just went into limbo. And I think that was by special request of James Robinson, where he's like, Jack is going to retire. And that's it. He's done. He's not coming back. And everyone has respected that since.
Yeah.
So I don't know. My thing was like, just let her be. And then the other thing, it's not a minor point, but it's just, I don't know. It's just something that like I would have a hard time getting used to. But like Jenny is, for lack of a better term, a distinctly Warren Ellis character. And anyone who's ever read, especially his Wildstorm stuff, knows what I mean by that term. Like, imagine a character that can pretty much only be written by one person. That's Jenny. That's like Jenny and a very small group of other people, like Spider Jerusalem and Desolation Jones, and I'm sure there's others I can think of, but they all fall in that camp of like, I cannot imagine another person who has the right voice to do that, to write that character in the way that made them so iconic. So, good luck to Tom King. I'm sure he'll do his best, but like, if Jenny is not being written by a British, angry, drunken person, then I probably have very little faith in how good it's going to be. Real shit.
Fair enough.
So anyway, those are my major gripes with the announcement. Rant over.
Well, with that being said, do you want to get into Outsiders?
Yeah, we can get into Outsiders. Surprising, I'm sure to you, there's actually not much to say in terms of the story of this. And what I mean by story is like, there's not much to say in the summary, but there's definitely a lot to talk about in terms of the content in the summary. So yeah, let's get into it. If I have your permission, sir.
Go for it.
Yes, Outsiders number 7, written by Jackson Lansing and Colin Kelly, with art from Robert Carey, colors by Valentina Tadeo, letters by Tom Napolitano, and as usual, cover from Roger Cruz with Adriano Lucas. Our story begins in a time long ago, though not so long ago, in a universe that no longer exists, our beloved but dearly departed Wildstorm universe. May the rest in peace. May the rest in peace. May they rest in peace. As we have a brief checkup on Planetary, presumably after the events of Planetary number 25, where at this point they've defeated the Four, which, for people who are unaware, is basically the Wildstorm universe's version of an evil Fantastic Four, and are restructuring the Wildstorm universe. Sorry, not the Wildstorm universe, restructuring the Planetary organization for future events. So we check in with all the members of Planetary, including Ambrose Chase, the drummer, and Elijah Snow, who are giving updates on the status of the divisions of Planetary and everything that's going on. Elijah announces that he is going to retire and will be handing over the role of the fourth man and head of Planetary to Chiquita Wagner, who seems to be ready to decline the offer, but kind of pauses before she rejects Snow's offer as she feels something kind of weird and strange going on. And that's when Ambrose and Chiquita notice that something is weird with the windows. Everything's gone kind of opaque. And then suddenly Elijah Snow, kind of recognizing this multiversal shenanigan stuff, realizes that they're about to be deleted from the timeline because the multiverse is getting fucked again. So he's preparing for the worst. tells Chiquita to grab on. She tries to, but everything disappears. She's flung across the, I guess, restructuring multiverse, which I thought was particularly funny because we have a panel of the Flash running as this is happening. So we know this is Flashpoint, which
Yeah.
eagle-eyed readers from Flashpoint will remember that that was the point when the Wildstorm timeline and the DC Universe timeline converged into one big mess of a timeline.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Yeah, after these events, Chiquita wakes up in Metropolis, having no idea where she is, only to find that she is in a universe filled with superheroes she doesn't recognize, and the universe she previously called home is gone. So she quickly tries to find out all she can about this universe and discovers that there is some kind of strange world outside of our own that not only changes the universe and multiverse as we know it, but also one that has information about all of us that seemingly is able to view everything that's happening in these respective universes from a place outside. Do you know who they might be talking about? Sorry, not to get too meta, but that was like, oh my god, I can't
Yeah.
believe it. They're doing the metafiction thing. But yeah, so Jaquita is just kind of availing herself of all the knowledge, hoping that the timeline and the universe does not change again. But oh no, it did, and now it's rebirth, and now we go through yet another change, where Jaquita finally realizes that, unlike most of the other people in this universe and across all other universes, she is immune to the timeline changes. And so while the world is changing around her, she still maintains the memory of all the previous iterations. So she sets out to find other places that she can call home and just kind of settle down for a little bit. But unfortunately, even despite trying to block out all the madness still comes for her, as despite building a new life with a lover and a garden and everything, the events of Dark Knight's Metal happen, which kind of fucks everything there too.
Yeah, she seemed to be living in Gotham, and I'm
Yeah.
sure y'all remember what happened to Gotham during that.
Oh yeah. No, it's just a endless series of multiversal shenanigans that you can't quite escape from. Um, but uh, but yeah, no. After the events of that, she has a strange conversation with someone called the Final Knight, who appears to be going through the same thing that Chiquita is, where he's the last kind of remnant of a universe that no longer exists, and is basically talking about the same kind of theory that she had, that there's some kind of big observer looking on from, beyond what they can see, that kind of influences everything that's going on. But the Final Night kind of reveals something interesting in that, even though the iterations of the past that no longer exist, might be just a memory to Chiquita, they still exist, and they still exist as kind of these shadows on her. So she is zapped back into the main timeline again at a period where I'm not really sure. Looks like maybe after the events of Dark Crisis or Death Metal or something like that. Probably Dark Crisis, I would think. And that's when she really decides that she's no longer going to try and ignore everything that's going on, but rather set out to find answers, and really more importantly, set out to find the people that she lost. And that's where we return to the carrier, where we see that Jaquita has been explaining this whole story to the other members of the Outsiders, and just revealing what her motivations have been all this time. She's just looking to find her friends. Kate does not believe a word of it and calls bullshit on the whole thing, whereas Luke and Lucius are more inclined to believe her. Kate decides to just quit and is like, fuck this. You guys are wasting your time on a story that seems ridiculous and makes no kind of sense. So I'm out of here. But Chiquita is obviously still, committed to her goal, and kind of is speaking to the person, the supposed observer outside of everything, who can see and has all the answers and knows the ending. And one day she's going to find that person and reveal that he doesn't know a damn thing and beat the ever-living shit out of him. Wow. Okay. Yeah. So, like I said, the summary may not seem like a whole lot happens, but boy, there is a lot to unpack. So I'll pass the mic over to you, my good man.
Okay, let me start with, if there's one thing I can't stand in superhero comics in this day and age is when someone explains some multiversal or magic or superpowered nonsense to another superhero, and that superhero goes, "Fuck are you talking about? I don't believe that. That's nonsense. Are you shitting me? Well, how at this point do you not believe anything can happen? You live in a world where people are flying, shooting fire from their eyes, can blow things up with a touch of a finger. And, like, the universe has changed 5 times in the past 10 years, and this is where you
Seriously.
draw the fucking line?
You've seen everything short of I don't even know. Like, you've pretty much seen everything.
Yeah. People in space live on Earth. That's all you need. It bugs the piss out of me when I see you downrate a Bat family member. I don't care if Kate Kane is one of the most down to earth Bat family members. She's seen some shit. Hell, even just being in The Outsiders, she has seen some shit.
Yeah.
That would make most people go fucking insane. And she's still questioning this. Of all the missions she's been on, that story is the one thing that is maybe the tamest thing. So that's a trope that I can't fucking stand.
Yeah.
So that part I didn't like, but the rest of the issue, fucking solid. Obviously, I don't know really anything about Planetary or anything much about Wildstorm, but getting that backstory, I very much appreciated it, and picking up what I have from you and Josh talking about it in the past year or so, picking up some stuff here and there. Like, I can see that the writers have done their fucking research. That was apparent from the beginning, but this book is definitely feeling like a love letter to that universe.
Very much so.
Yeah.
To the point where I was surprised, because this was like, I don't, from the moment I really started doing the deep dive on the Wildstorm stuff, maybe 4 years ago, like, I was aware that a lot of these characters had been folded into the New 52 after Flashpoint. But I always wondered, like, if this entire universe that existed separately, that had its own continuity and canon and, multitude of stories and all that stuff, was just suddenly folded in, and all the characters found themselves interacting, what happened to, a ton of these people? Because we really only got to see like a small chunk of them. And it always made me wonder, like, was there anyone who was maybe aware of the fact that, we were in our own place, and now all of a sudden we're in this separate universe? Like, there's so much to explore in that, especially with Chiquita's story, because she has seen not just one version of the DC universe, but like 3. She's seen the New 52 version, she's seen the Rebirth version, and now is kind of living in the, post Dark Crisis version, like 3 different versions where the continuity of these characters was completely different. The look of these characters was completely different, like all that stuff, and was witness to all of that. And just, to be able to see that and have that in your memory, as opposed to everyone else who'd completely forgotten, like, that's astonishing. So yeah, no, there's a lot of interesting potential in that, if they ever wanted to explore, that further, of like, here's all the stuff she was doing in between, being folded into the DC universe and joining the Outsiders and all that stuff. Like, that in itself has like a whole arc's potential worth of stories, maybe even more. But yeah, no, I mean, aside from that, it's nice to see the Planetary gang again, at least for a moment. Definitely confirmed something that I suspected, which was that they, mysteriously vanished and were folded in, and who knows what happened to them. Although, if we're following the logic of other characters, some of the ones that were in the Wildstorm universe previously that are now a part of the DC universe, like Grifter and Midnighter and Apollo and those guys, like, it stands to reason that there could be a version of the drummer or Elijah Snow somewhere out there. So maybe Chiquita could find one. Who knows? Would they have the same history? I have no idea. Would they have any memories of their previous life? Probably not. Who knows? It seems like Chiquita was the only one who was immune to, losing the memory of the past. But yeah, no, aside from that, it's just, I don't know. I thought it was a very well executed backstory for how Chiquita, now the drummer, ended up in the DC universe. I keep wanting to say our universe, but I don't live in the DC universe. Um, yeah, no, it's just a really well executed story, interesting. Finally getting the answers, feeling a little vindicated for some of the potential theories that they're dropping here. So yeah, lots of good stuff. So I gave it a 8.5 out of 10.
Right on. So, well, I'll lead with my score. Also 8.5 out of 10. But what's the over under, do you think, of this? This obviously Chiquita Wagner is hinting at the person behind it all is our universe, is the reader. But what if really this person whose ass she wants to kick turns out to be Alan Moore?
That would be quite the reveal. I don't know if it really
That
makes
would be-
sense, but
Well, my whole thing is obviously Flashpoint and Rebirth and Dark Crisis and all that happened. But what we found out later on through Doomsday Clock is the whole thing that caused Flashpoint to reset the universe was, oh my god, the fuck is his name?
Dr. Manhattan.
Dr. Manhattan taking that 10 years and those characters out of the timeline, and it just reset everything, and that's what would have ultimately destroyed the Wildstorm universe and folded it in New 52. So what essentially killed Chiquita's world was Dr. Manhattan, and who wrote Watchmen? Alan fucking Moore.
Yeah, that's I suppose that is a distant possibility.
They're trying to pit British creators against British creators.
Yeah, no, I don't know. I'm
It's probably not happening.
Well.
That would just
Anything's
be that would be
possible,
interesting.
but,
Anything is possible.
Yeah, no, I think I like the idea.
That might be a bit too meta, maybe. Yeah.
Well, I guess my pushback against that would be because the final night has a line where he says they don't create us, but they're just kind of lurking and judging and observing from the outside. And then Chiquita says they read. So it's not like it's not someone who has a direct hand in determining the course of their lives. It's just someone who's like watching, morbidly
so
curious.
Definitely the reader.
Yeah, which is why I was like, oh. And then you start feeling all accusatory, like, what the fuck did I do? I'm just here reading it. Like, it's not my fault that your life sucks. I'm just getting the entertainment out of it.
Exactly. Like, if I don't read you and buy the book every month, you're gonna end up stuck in that limbo place.
Exactly. You're literally just gonna be in limbo because no one wanted to read you. I guess the argument against that is write stories where we're not suffering, but I don't know. That's going down a whole other rabbit hole.
A rabbit hole I don't think we should get into.
Yeah.
All right, with that, I think we should take a quick commercial break. Stay tuned, folks.
All right. Okay, I'm gonna be right back. I just got to go to the bathroom.
Okay.
Hello? Rob?
And
Hello.
we are back, folks.
Yes.
Hope you had a good break. We sure did. Yeah, I'm not getting into that. Anyway, with that, Brandon, I want to ask you a question.
What's up?
How prepared are you to do Blue Beetle, or do you want me to take it?
I think you would probably be better doing Blue Beetle than I would.
Okay. All right, that I can do. Not a problem. Just let me check something here. Yeah, fuck that. I don't need a Quagsire. All right, this is Blue Beetle number 9. Oh shit! Hang on. Technology is not my friend today. I swear to.
Yeesh.
Hi, Father. For frick's sake! Oh my god. It's not going to go well during editing. That's just my phone anyway. Give me your problems. Computer's been fine. So this is Blue Beetle number 9. This is written by Josh Trujillo. Where the hell is the credits? Oh my god. Yeah, I'm not doing a great job with this. This is written by Josh Trujillo with art from Adrian Gutierrez, colors from Will Quintana, and letters from Lucas Catoni with a beautiful cover from Gutierrez and Luis Guerrero. Picking up where we left off last issue, Pinnacle, the new creation from Cord Industries, is on stage, hosted by Victoria Cord, and has just possibly murdered somebody. Victoria is as stunned as always, or as one that maybe not always, but is as stunned as she was when Pinnacle first let off that blast that took down Overthrow. But thanks to Kajida scanning everything, we find out that Overthrow is okay. He's stable but unconscious, and also not a threat because he's half dead. Kajida, however, cannot pinpoint any weaknesses or really anything at all about Pinnacle. So as Jaime and Pinnacle get ready to have a big fight, Victoria steps in the way, tells Pinnacle to not engage and deactivate immediately. To which Victoria and Jaime then have a little back and forth of words, where Victoria then goes back to her usual high and mighty self, and talking about aliens and how they're taking over Palmyra City, and she just wants the world to be safe for humans. Sounding a lot like Amanda Waller these days, gotta say. A little too close to the Waller there. All right, so after that, Paco and Jaime go to Brenda and start interrogating her as to what the hell she's doing with Victoria Cord. Brenda insists that she was doing it to protect them and that she didn't really have a choice. Somebody needed to be on the inside, but they still don't really have a lot of trust towards her. I think it's understandable after everything they've been to. Later on, back at Victoria's lab, Victoria is working again with Brenda to run some diagnostics on holy shit. Oh my god, my Pinnacle. My brain is just forgetting all sorts of things. I said it 2 minutes ago and I forgot the damn name of the robot.
Yeah.
But yeah, so they're running some diagnostics on Pinnacle, and then she realizes maybe it's a bit too much and orders Pinnacle to self-destruct immediately. Pinnacle is kind of questioning that order, and Brenda is also wondering what the hell she's on about, but insists that Pinnacle self-detonates a good 3 times for good measure, and that leaves the actual body in pieces and the green scarab that belonged to Nitida also lying in pieces. Victoria then leaves. Brenda, seeing an opportunity, grabs the green scarab and heads off in a flying car, which I thought that was trademarked by S.H.I.E.L.D., but who knows? They don't exist anymore now, I think, anyway, so who fucking cares? So she heads out with the Green Beetle to find Jaime. Victoria gets an alert that there has been an incident with Pinnacle, knows it's Brenda, and orders her Nightingales to be sent out, which are crow-like robots which fire green lasers. Not wanting Brenda to be hurt, she does want that scarab back. So Brenda gets on the phone with Jaime and says she's being attacked and she needs help right away. Then the green scarab begins to crawl on her, and then they get cut off. Victoria then is going into her lab and finds none other than Ted Cord in his Blue Beetle costume, who then gives her a bit of a stern talking to in a way, and asks what she's doing to everyone, and she reveals that she's just trying to help everyone. Why can't he see that? But he says, we'll figure this out later. Right now, we have a crisis, and it's up to the Corps to fix this. So now they're working together. So then we cut back to the Nightingales attacking the car, and Jaime arrives in time to find the car crash down and Brenda just barely conscious. He then asks Kajida where is the beetle. Kaji does a scan and cannot find it anywhere. And as we see in an alley, as it's beginning to rain, the beetle is beginning to reconstruct itself, and it is now turning into Pinnacle, but this time kaiju-sized. The pinnacle of its form, if you will. That was a bad joke. That was a bad joke.
Just gonna wait for that one to pass.
Yeah. like a bad fart. Just let it pass. Yeah. Anyway, I mean, not even the worst pun in the entire book. The title of the story is Pinnacle of Achievement, so whatever. Still pretty bad. I regret nothing. Anyway, this story has been interesting. I don't remember when we found out. It might have been at the last solicit, so it might have even been last week, and I guess I could have been brought up in news. But we found out that Blue Beetle is ending fairly soon. I think it's going to 12 issues, and that's it.
11, I think, actually.
11, even worse. So it means we have 2 fucking issues left. Yeah, I'm not happy about that because I'm really enjoying this book, and I thought there was definitely a lot of potential here, you know, but I guess not to the masses, which is unfortunate.
Yeah, I don't know. It feels weird because it had all this momentum from the Blood Scarab / Scarab War arc, and I felt like it was building towards so much more beyond that. And I guess it just ended abruptly after this Pinnacle arc. Feels kind of weird. Like, unless there's a relaunch coming, which I can't imagine there will be. Yeah, it feels weird that this would just be the
Yeah,
end.
it really sucks.
Yeah.
But what can you do?
What
Unless
can
they're
you
gonna
do?
throw a curveball and it's just a new creative team, but I guess we'll have
Maybe.
to see.
Yeah,
Which I
don't
don't know how I'd feel about that because I'm really liking what Josh Trujillo was doing with this.
Yeah, well, it felt like everyone was really in it, and it would just be kind of weird to end it, while they're still kind of developing their story to bring in
Yeah.
a new creative team.
Yeah, I don't know. It sucks, but
And,
for now, I'm going to enjoy what we have. I know I picked up Graduation Day in a trade. I'm going to pick up this entire run as a trade as well. This
yeah,
was a hell of a run. I want DC to know that this is what I want more of.
yeah.
Yeah, this was fun. Give me some of those like lower tier, like A minus, B tier characters that we don't get to see more of. You know, stories that we haven't had in fucking ages.
I
That
mean,
somebody after all these years would be like, you know what? I think I could do this.
look, I've
How many
been
times have we got to
jockeying.
read Batman and Superman,
Uh,
Green Lantern? Okay, I take that last one back. But the
uh,
Flash. Like, how many times we got to read those guys? Where we're not getting any Blue Beetle. We're not getting any Green Arrow. There's no Aquaman right now. Martian Manhunter
Well,
hasn't had a book in like 20 years.
Green Arrow, thankfully, has an ongoing that is, for every indication going beyond 12 issues. But yeah,
Yeah.
everyone else is like, what's going on? What's happening? Dude, when's the last
Genuinely, I
time?
forgot Green Arrow was happening.
When's the last time the Atom had his own book? Like,
You
I would
know?
love. I think honestly, it might have been the Power of the Atom in 2010, maybe when that series
Might have
ended.
been. Yeah.
So
Which was
Ryan Choi.
Shrine Choi. Thank you.
Yeah.
Second Adam.
So that's I'm
I guess
just
third,
look.
technically.
You're preaching to the choir, and we could go down a whole rabbit hole tangent. What a weird phrase. But we could go down a whole rabbit hole of characters that they're just kind of sitting dormant that DC really could be, using. And there's a whole army's worth of characters that they could, tap into. But oh well.
I mean, Jeff Johns brought back JSA. I think next he should bring back Booster Gold.
Booster Gold. Well, yeah.
Give us 52 pickup part 2.
52 pickup. Oh
Electric Boogaloo.
I
I picked up the 2007 series. I guess it's a compendium because it's not quite an omnibus. Volume 1, and I've just been like loving the hell out of it.
That's awesome. Yeah, that's a super fun series.
It really is. I loved it in 2007 when it started. Like I love reading the hell out of that book, and just I needed to pick it up again because I'm like, I've been finding the issues in my dad's collection. I'm like, all right, I'm gonna collect all of these because I love this series, and I was like, I want to read them now,
Yeah. Strangely enough, I think my first introduction to Booster Gold might have been the 80s series, because I remember the first time I ever went to the comic shop that was closest to me in high school. I just, as I'm wont to do, I just went straight for the dollar bin and was like, okay, let's see what we can get. Let's see what I can find. And I just found a ton of good stuff. But the stuff I can remember most clearly for some reason, it's probably because I have a picture of it too, was like a bunch of Wildcat stuff, issues 51 and 52 of Green Lantern, surprisingly.
Oh, wow.
From the 90s. So it was like first introduction to Kyle Rayner and like Booster Gold '2 for some reason.
Wow.
Yeah. And I was like, hey, cool. I'll check this out. So yeah, no, that 80s series is a lot of fun, but no, the one from Jeff Johns post 52 is also pretty good.
Yeah.
One that I haven't read that in a while.
It's honestly worth another checkout. If only to like come across those random chalkboard panels in Rip Hunter's Time Lab and just where Jeff Johns like teasing future stuff. And you're like,
well, I remember that was all the stuff that was like teasing towards Flashpoint very early on.
There was all sorts of stuff. Like he was teasing New Krypton. He was teasing
Was there
like,
Blackest
stuff
Night stuff in
in
there
Final
too?
Crisis. There was Blackest Night stuff in
Yeah,
there
if
too.
I remember
Yeah.
correctly.
Yeah, I
So,
think he was teasing stuff about the Red Lanterns, and considering he
yeah,
was
yeah,
also writing Green Lantern at the time, okay, he could do it.
yeah.
Yeah,
Well, he was doing like 4 books at the time, which is fucking crazy to me. Because he
yeah,
was co-writing Blue Beetle. He's co-writing Booster Gold,
yeah.
writing
With
Green
Dan.
Lantern.
Oh no, not with Dan
Um,
Jurgens. I don't remember who the other guy was, but Dan Jurgens took over later.
yeah,
He
and it
was doing
was
Green
Jeff
Lantern.
Johns and John Katz, I think, and then Dan Jurgens was doing the art.
Yes,
And then yeah,
I think he was doing Teen Titans.
Yeah, no, was wrapping up Teen Titans because I think he
Oh,
stepped
okay.
off the book. Actually, I have, funnily enough, I finally. Wait, can I go on a brief tangent, please? Sorry, Josh.
What else do we do? Like, it's our thing.
Okay.
We always go on tangents.
Small
Yo, Josh.
tangent over, but yeah. So I've been on my quest to like complete all the eras of Teen Titans since I don't know, fucking high school or something like that. And the one that I have most complete as of now is probably the new Teen Titans, even though the 2003 Teen Titans was the one I kind of started out just trying to collect as many issues. But I finally, as of I don't know, maybe last week or something, collected up to 52 or no 53. And I know just looking based on the
I think I
cover,
have that issue because is that the one they were in Russia?
No, that I think that's earlier. 53
okay.
is the Titans of Tomorrow arc.
Okay. No,
yeah,
I think I have that issue as well.
Yeah, Johns ends up stepping off the book at issue 46 in 2007. I think right as he's about to take over Action Comics, or fully take over Action Comics and not just co-writing with Richard Donner. So Teen Titans, Action Comics.
Richard Donner was writing Action Comics.
No, isn't that wild? I still look back on like, what was it, Escape from Bizarro World? And I'm like, oh my God, fucking Richard Donner wrote this? Superman Richard Donner? Like, what the hell?
You know?
Yeah, no, that's awesome. Man, what a stacked creative lineup that was. You had Kurt Busiek, Richard Donner, Fabian Nicieza, Jeff Johns, like so much great talent.
Hell of a time to be a Superman fan. Like I read random issues during that time of Superman and Action Comics. And I was like, I don't think I ever had a bad issue.
Yeah, it was great.
Every issue was a fun
that seems to be the case with Superman. Like you just have a lot of eras where it's defined by like a singular creative unit of different writers and artists, and they're just churning out great stuff. Like you had the Triangle era, obviously. You have
the Omnibus is coming soon.
Yeah, hell yeah. You had like the post 52 era, like just all these really great decisive eras. Even the like post crisis John Byrne / Marv Wolfman kind of era, and then Marv Wolfman left the title, and then John Byrne left the title. But like they always have like these eras where Superman has like stacked creative teams and the stories are great. Maybe that's all the eras, but I would argue there are some eras that are definitely weaker than others. But that's a conversation for a different day.
Wait, how did we get to this? Oh yeah, you were showing off. If you were trying to show it off, your camera's not on. You were showing off your Teen Titans collection.
Oh yeah. Well, I just wanted to grab the issues. Where was it? I don't even remember where this conversation segued. Oh, no, you're talking about we were talking about characters that DC should do stuff with, and you were like, Booster Gold. I want more Booster Gold was the gist of your statement.
And Jeff Johns should bring back Booster Gold.
Yeah. But wait, actually, you are gonna like this, and I'm surprised that we're only just thinking of this now. If Jeff Johns were not to bring back Booster Gold, which probably likely considering he's all in on the Ghost Machine stuff right now.
Yeah.
Who would you want to write a Booster Gold ongoing? Because I already have an idea in mind, and I think we might have the same one.
Okay, so if it's not Dan Jurgens, because he's my number one choice.
Yeah.
Of course. Though I'm still not thrilled about his Black Beetle reveal, but that's besides the point. If it's not Dan Jurgens, right now, if we're talking current writers,
Mhm.
quite honestly, maybe Jeremy Adams.
I knew it.
Yeah.
This is literally the meme from, what is it, fucking Predator? The two like giant arms.
Yeah.
Yep.
You son of a bitch.
You and I, Jeremy Adams together on. Yeah, no, I couldn't
Yeah.
think of anyone else who.
Yeah.
Not even.
I mean,
not
considering
even
he did Gold Beetle in The
Well,
Flash,
yeah, that's
which
what I
is
was thinking.
clearly a love
Yeah.
letter to Booster Gold and Blue Beetle.
Very much so.
Yeah.
Yeah, I would love to see that take.
Yeah. He would be so good.
Mhm.
If not Jeremy Adams, maybe Tom Taylor, but I would love to see Jeremy Adams before.
Yeah. I'm trying to think who else, because I feel like it has to be that mix of the sincere but also the comedic.
Yeah,
like-
which is honestly kind of rare these days.
Well, that's what I was gonna say, because like the
Yeah.
thing that I remember from the Jeff Johns book is like, yeah, it's you have your kind of classic booster-ish moments, but for the most part, like that book was pretty straight. This is very tied into continuity. Maybe I'm misremembering, but like I don't.
No, you're right.
Yeah, no, like that book was played pretty well. I want to say like, because when I say seriously, it makes it sound like it's so mature and like, Booster doesn't care or anything. He's like he's a serious, like hard boiled character now, but like that's not what I'm trying to say. I'm just saying like it wasn't constant jokes or anything. It was I don't know. I don't have the right way to say it, but maybe it was.
If I could give it in some examples, you had Booster being classic Booster and like equal parts trying to slack off and relax, but at the same time trying to live up to the duty. Also, like bugging Rip, like, okay, Dad, whatever. And beside him, you had Skeets doing his best Alfred from BTOS impression.
Exactly.
Just being sarcastic the entire fucking time. But then you also have issues like, okay, we need to go save Ted Core's life or the universe is going to end.
Yeah. Oh my God,
and
that is...
oh, by the way, if you could, it's important to the timeline, go stop the Joker from paralyzing Barbara Gordon. That'd be great.
I was literally just thinking of that issue.
Like,
it's issue 5.
That is a heavy as fuck issue.
Yeah.
There's not a joke in that issue, but his Booster over and over and over again getting the shit beat out of him by the Joker in order to save Barbara from getting paralyzed. All for it to just be a lesson for Rip to say, look, there's some things in the timeline you just can't save.
Yeah, and
Barbara needs to be paralyzed, and Ted needs to die. Oh my God!
He legitimately flips out at the end at Rip. Like he's pissed because he's like, I should be able to do something, but you're telling me I can't. So
yeah, like he's basically like moments away. He's basically like ready to die.
Yeah.
He's beaten to a bloody pulp over and over again, and he's like, "No, I need to fucking do this."
Basically, that's what I was trying to say. Where it's like, yes, there are comedic moments. Booster still has a comedic personality, but like the book has serious moments, and I would want to see a writer that could juggle both of that, because it's very easy to like. I hate using this term, but it's very easy to Flanderize a character like Booster, where he's just the idiot. He's constantly, running scams or whatever, just doing like the same shtick that you would expect. Like Guy Gardner, honestly, same thing. Where it's like it's very easy to write guys like asshole Lantern, gives no fucks, whatever, total asshole to everyone around him. But like we've seen Guy with some genuinely heartfelt moments. We've seen Guy with some very serious moments. We've seen Guy as a leader. Like you can have both. It doesn't have to just be Guy the asshole idiot or Guy, the total serious edgelord or whatever. Like you can juggle both. With a talented writer, you can juggle both.
Exactly. Like if you want some classic Guy Gardner moments, Red Lanterns from issue 20 onwards.
Yeah.
You have issue.
No, I hate that fucking 30. But whatever.
It grew on me. It grew on him too, but
clearly
issue I want to say 35, maybe 36 of Howlin' Pals when they're rescuing Ganthet, and he has that whole like profound Four legs on the table, four seats in a Mustang GT.
Mustang. Oh my god.
Yeah. Like
Yep.
that was alone just fucking amazing. Like he's not always an asshole. Blackest Nights, when Kyle
God.
potentially gets murdered, and
Yes.
he's like, no, and just goes like super Red Lantern on
Or
everything.
hell, even I was thinking of this recently because you inspired me and I was rereading some old GLC, but the what is it, the aftermath issue of Sinestro Core War, where it's just like you have that moment between Kyle and Guy, and it's really genuine. It's not like he's not, treating him like, oh, stupid kid, you got possessed by Parallax, what a phoebe. Like he's like, yeah, let's, we can talk about it. Still making jokes, but like he's not a total asshole about it. So
yeah. Sorry, I'm just replying to Josh.
yeah. Oh, I didn't even. I was not paying attention to our Discord.
Yeah, sorry, Josh. Just because like
Mark Russell.
I don't have Discord
great
on the
choice.
screen, so I'm not seeing that messages are happening.
Josh,
Mark
I know
Russell
you
would
can
be
hear
interesting.
me. I co-sign Mark Russell. I co-sign Mark Russell heavy.
What do you say about Steve Orlando?
TBD. I would have to see that.
TBD. Fair enough.
TBD.
I mean, I saw you say my pick would be Jeremy Adams too, but then you didn't say anything else. If I could pick another, and only because you know how much I love him, Tomasi.
Yeah.
Tomasi's another person that has that perfect balance.
Honestly, I think. Yeah, I think that would be. I feel like that would be enough to bring Tomasi back to an ongoing or something. I don't know.
Yeah.
I'm not. I feel like I'm not making any sense today.
No, I get it because he's really just doing minis right now.
Yeah, I say that because like I feel like that's a character that he's touched maybe only in small cameos or something. Like maybe I don't even know if I'm remembering that because I know he had Tora a couple times in Green Lantern Corps, but I don't remember if he ever had any booster cameos in Green Lantern Corps. Maybe in Superman. I don't
think in Green Lantern Corps potentially. Oh, I know Booster was in Superman, but that might have been Dan Jurgens.
Well, that's that. I was trying to not confuse that because I know he did the Booster Shot arc, and that had. Was
Dan that Superman or was that Action Comics?
That was Action Comics.
That was Action Comics. Yeah. So I think that was Dan Jurgens. Yeah.
Yeah. So, yeah, I don't know. I think I would definitely be interested in it, and I feel like that would. You know what I would really like to see? They kind of did a decent bit of it with the Jeff Johns series, but like the whole dynamic between Rip and Booster was such a fascinating one that honestly, the more that they could explore that, the more I would appreciate it. And I know Tomasi has a penchant for writing families, so I would love to see just more elements of Rip and Booster's relationship as father and son. Obviously, in a kind of weird dynamic, given that Rip is an adult and Booster is like I think younger or something. I don't know, but
yeah. But I still have to like go through the whole run. But I know at least in the first volume here for the 2007 series, you do get the reveal that Rip is Booster's kid. Spoilers, by the way, if you never read that book. But I don't think Booster ever finds out. No. If I'm remembering right.
I don't. Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't think so.
But it would be funny to have like Booster just spend a week on the time bubble, just like, no, we got this, and he's like almost getting eaten by dinosaurs left, right, and center, and Ripper's like, you need to stay alive because if you're dead, I'm not gonna come on.
I was thinking like maybe because you're right, like that dynamic has kind of been explored in the 2007 series, but like I don't know how you would make it possible. I'm sure there's a way, but honestly, like a Booster and Son series in the vein of the rebirth Superman would be great. That
Oh damn.
just trying to see him, attempt to be a father. Yeah,
But like with a
'Cause
young Rip Hunter,
with
right?
young
Like as a
Rip Hunter.
kid. Oh
'Cause
my god.
I think there's a couple of moments in like the Vanishing Point miniseries, which was a tie-in to Final Crisis, where they have
Yeah.
some flashbacks to Rip's childhood, where it's like you have the adult Booster raising his son, and they always kind of hinted at that, like there's this whole dynamic of Michael and Rip, but they never really go into it. And I was always like, there's so much potential there if you just wanted to explore that more, of like, okay, well, if Booster is a father, especially as a time traveling superhero, what is that like? So yeah, I don't know, you said Tomasi and it got my head spinning of like, ooh, there's a lot of potential there. And I know how much he loves to do the father and son family dynamic, so I would definitely want to see that.
Yeah. Damn, that'd be wild. You need to
Yeah.
write that.
Oh my God.
You need to fucking do that.
We need to write the shit. Well, yeah, let's do it.
Yeah.
Get to work.
You write it, I'll edit,
Yeah.
and then I'll use that as a backdoor to
Oh,
get
man.
my Green Lantern book off the floor.
There
you
you
know?
go.
Yeah. And then Josh can use as a backdoor to write his Black Label Nightwing story.
Oh my God. Rest assured, if any one of us ends up working at DC, we're bringing everyone else in. We're bringing all our
Yes.
friends in.
Exactly.
Good old nepotism, baby.
Bring Kirk in just for the lulls. Be
Hell
like,
yeah.
okay, where do I write Spider-Man?
Write something. You can write a fucking, I don't know, is it Spider-Man ripoff? Can't even think of anyone.
I don't think
You
DC
can write-
has one.
You can write Sideways. That's close enough.
Yeah,
Gosh,
it basically
Screaming
is.
right now, I'm sure.
I thought I know I liked Sideways. Didn't Josh like Sideways too?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, he probably doesn't like the Spider-Man
Comparison.
Yeah.
I mean, like, I think even Jeff Johns, I think I remember reading an interview, like, Sideways is very much a teenage Peter Parker type character.
Yes. Well, that whole New Age of Heroes initiative, they very much knew what they were doing. It was kind of an obvious attempt to bring Marvel dynamics and Marvel-esque characters into the DC universe. You got your Hulk, you got your Fantastic Four with the Terrifics, you got your Spider-Man. Like, what else do you need?
Silencer was very much Black Widow.
Yeah. Well, actually, I was thinking Punisher, but that works too.
Oh, yeah. Guess I could go either way. I knew there was a Hulk analog, but I can't for the life of me remember what he was called.
Damage. Not to be confused with Grant Emerson, the other Damage.
Not that Damage.
Not that
different damage.
Yeah.
I remember now that you mention it. When I saw that title, I'm like, huh, from JSA, and then I look at the cover, I'm like, that's...
Yeah, it's like, no. That's
that's not the one
different
from JSA.
Damage.
Yeah, that was weird. What I find even crazier is that Sideways, for all the stuff I loved for him, was made by Dan DiDio. It still blows
it's surprising,
my mind.
Yeah.
Considering how much he, like, I it's yet to be confirmed in my books how much he hated sidekicks. Right, he wanted
allegedly
the OG heroes to take center stage.
Allegedly.
And here he is making a teenage superhero as an OC. Like, what the fuck is... it was.
Yeah.
It's always allegedly and rumored, but never confirmed.
Very much an open secret, I guess you could say.
Yeah.
Of what he called legacy characters.
Yeah.
Because if I'm remembering his own words correctly, he said they age up the heroes, which... Yes, but also who cares?
Yeah.
Like
you have Alan Scott and Jay Garrick.
That's what I'm like, oh my God, literally, like the characters that you like, the ones that you're saying are being aged up by, the third generation legacy characters are legacy characters.
Exactly.
Like Green Lantern and Flash are both legacy characters. Adam is a legacy character. So by that logic,
to go into the idea that Superman, Batman, and Wonder Woman all hung out with the JSA in the 40s.
Yeah, well, that's the thing. It's like you even now still have like that weird timeline fuckery of was Diana kind of a legacy character? Because for a while it was in canon that Hippolyta was the first Wonder Woman, and then Diana took over. I don't know if that's still in canon or something. I feel like that's been changed, but yeah, if you go back to the JSA series from 1999, Hippolyta is hanging out at the funeral of what's his name, Wesley Dodds, and it's like, oh yeah, Hippolyta was the original Wonder Woman and worked with the JSA in the 40s, making Diana a legacy character.
Yeah, there you go.
There you go. So
Like,
the history of DC is literally built upon legacy characters.
Yeah.
Yeah. Unless you were born in 1917 and were a teenager when the first like World War II era characters came out, then I don't think anyone has the right to say like I was pre-legacy characters. I was there for the first wave.
Like that alone lends more credence to my argument that, and I know Josh agrees with this, that at a certain point Bruce should have just stepped down and Dick should have taken over and stayed on as Batman. As much as I like Dick as Nightwing, like there was an opportunity I think in the 60s where they could have just changed that,
Possibly, yeah. I don't know. I think it's hard to say because I think the dynamic of Bruce and Alfred in the cave doing the whole mystery thing just worked so well for so long that changing that just didn't work. Like literally to the point where they had Dick go off to college because Denny O'Neil was like, well, I want to get back to basics. Like I just want the Bruce Alfred dynamic, and Robin can go off and be a college student or some shit.
Yeah.
So I think that's probably why they're like, no, this works, this formula works. And then when it didn't work, and they're like, well, let's go back to the Batman and Robin dynamic. They were like, fuck, well, we can't do that because Robin ran off to join the new Teen Titans, and he's a grown ass man, and Marv Wolfman doesn't want us to make him back into Robin again because he's about to become Nightwing. Enter Jason Todd. There's a whole history of that for anyone who's interested. There's, oh my God, I gotta find the interview, but there's some interview with Mike W. Barr, who was, I think, writing Detective Comics at the time, who was trying to figure out a way to bring Dick Grayson back as Robin because they really wanted the Batman and Robin dynamic. And this was before someone else had the idea of like, why not just have a new Robin? But I think his idea was Dick would be in a horrible accident. He would have amnesia, would forget everything that had happened in the recent few years, including all the Teen Titans stuff, and would move back in with Batman and be his sidekick again or something like that.
That's kind of nuts.
Like such a wild and stupid story plot that I was like, thank God they did not go with that.
Yeah.
I think, Josh, to your comment, I think Rob was talking about like in the 60s and 70s. So that would have been pre-Tim Drake.
Yeah. Oh, did he mention something about Tim Drake? Because so Josh has been bugging in our private chat about his theory about the Flash, and I'm going to try my best to piece it together because when he was explaining it, I was very fucking tired. So I don't know if you had a chance to read it yet, Brandon, but it does have some interesting stuff here. But it is 100% Josh's theory through breadcrumbs and pieces he's pieced together. So it's infuriating. What's infuriating?
Oh,
not being able to talk about it, I guess. Okay, so based off of stuff that's happening in Cy Superior's Flash, with how weird the Speed Force is right now, we don't know what's going to happen when everything is said and over with. Plus, DC looking to connect canon as much as possible, as well as potentially undo some things. He's thinking that at some point, not in any specific event, but throughout books, there's going to be some kind of problem that will cause a Flash to disappear. And we'll have to either go into the Speed Force or into some extra extra dimensional force or whatever to calm it down.
Right.
And that Flash will be gone for the foreseeable future. And in that will like bring things together a little bit more for whatever reason. Potentially with what we've seen in the Lost City of Canon in Outsiders, or whatever that was called. Like he started this whole theory asking me and Brandon if we could pick a Flash that would be gone for 5 to 20 years, who would it be? So yeah.
Sorry, I'm listening.
That
I'm
could
also
happen.
just trying to find that story of in the 80s where they were trying to bring Dick Grayson back. I need to find it, or else I won't be able to rest.
That's fair.
All
in all, though, I think if that is true, I think it will be Max.
Yeah, interesting. I would hate that, but interesting.
I mean, considering Jeremy Adams was going to have him do that anyway.
Yeah. Well, I'm fine with them, into the sunset and having their Speed Force adventures, but I hate the concept of him having to sacrifice himself for some bullshit reason.
Yeah. Well, that is about it, I guess. Well, what the fuck? Oh, now I see the chat about Tim. Tim should be Batman, not Dick. I think Teen Titans proved that should never happen. Josh.
Yes, but also like all of Batman and Robin by Grant Morrison and prove that he can be Batman, and a very good one at that. So
is true. I think it will be that.
I had to sneak in here real quick.
Oh my god, aren't you on like vacation?
I am getting ready to leave for vacation, but I had to sneak in here real quick. Yeah, so with the Lost City of Canon going on in the Outsiders, where everything conflicting in DC canon lives, characters, plots, everything.
Yeah.
They are supposed to be going into that and fixing all of the errors in continuity. Now, with everything that's been going on with the Flash and how wonky it is and all the changes that Wally's been going through, I think that we're going to end up losing a Flash, either getting eaten up by the Speed Force or by time itself. And I want to say it looks like it's going to be Wally, but there may be an opportunity for somebody to step in. And I personally think that it'll be like Barry that wants to step in for him, but that Max will do it at the very last second. But I think since we always, with those big, huge continuity shakeups, stir-ups, anything that alters the universe at large always involves a Flash in some form or another. And I don't see how we could have a bunch of continuity fixes without involving somebody tapped into the Speed Force. So I was wondering what y'all thought about that. Do you think it's a possibility that's what we're looking at?
I think it's very possible. It's not like it hasn't been done before, right? So
do you think we might lose Wally?
No, I don't think we'll lose Wally. They put too much into Wally over the past almost a decade now since Rebirth started. Into just bringing him back into the fold and making him a solid part of the DC universe again. They put so much effort into it that just having him sacrifice himself would cheapen the entire fucking thing, and I would absolutely hate it.
Yeah, I don't think that it would be if it's Wally. In my theory, if it's Wally, I don't think it'll be a sacrifice. I think it would be a against his will kind of thing. Now, I was just curious to hear what you guys had to think about that. What about you, Brandon?
I will get back to you because I need to find this fucking story or I'm gonna lose my
Fair enough. All right,
All
I'm
right.
hopping back off of here, guys. Thanks for letting
All
me
right.
blow your. See ya.
Enjoy the drive. This fucking guy. Gotta love him.
Oh my god.
All right. I'm gonna ask you to put a pin on that because we've been on a tangent enough. We need to get
Oh,
back
boy.
on track. Yeah.
Yes. Yes.
Is it the interview or an issue you're looking for?
It's like some interview. I just want to find the story and like if I'm not going crazy or if I'm not just imagining this. Okay. Anyway, let's get
Yes.
back to it.
Action Comics.
Action Comics. Yes. What about it?
You want to talk about it?
No.
Oh. Okay, Green Lantern.
No. Action Comics number 1065, part 3 of House of Brainiac is written by Joshua Williamson with art from Rafa Sandoval and Miguel Mendonça, colors from Alejandro Sanchez, letters from David Sharp, and another glorious cover from Rafa Sandoval and Alejandro Sanchez. We pick up this issue with Brainiac kind of going back and forth with Lex Luthor talking about all his plans and everything, Brainiac that is, and Lex is particularly interested both in why he's been stealing all these superpowered people, but also why use Zarnians. They seem so chaotic and crazy and hard to control, and it seems very un-Brainiac-like to use people that he cannot control. But Brainiac's like, chillax, you're smart, but you're not as smart as me. So you don't really understand my plans, but their usefulness will come in time, or their usefulness will be revealed in time. So just you wait, which is when we cut over to Superman and Lobo fighting off General Chakal and the rest of the Zarnians that Brainiac had let loose to chase after them. They fighting for a little bit, but decide to run away just so they can chase after Brainiac's ship since they know it's getting away. So Lobo and Superman are flying off, hopefully to catch up to Brainiac's ship in just enough time so that it doesn't escape. We cut back to the inside of Brainiac's ship where Kara and Connor, who managed to escape in the previous issue, are now running around free, but at miniature size, or trying to dodge all of the giant creatures, giant from their perspective, walking around Brainiac's ship. And that's when they are able to work to free Parasite and Livewire from their traps, just because they know they've been working with Superman and are willing to help them out just this once, and be heroes and help them hopefully take down Brainiac. But before they can do that, they need to get back to normal size, and going into Brainiac's armory, they're able to find a device that will enlarge them back to their regular size, and that's when they can go after and attack Brainiac, which they do, or at least attack a number of different Brainiacs, but unfortunately Kara and the rest of them do not succeed, as the Brainiac Prime still is roaming around free and does not get thrashed or anything like that. And that's when Brainiac begins to reveal part of his master stroke as he brings up the bottle city of Kolu, or at least a bottle city of a city from Kolu, and enlarges it to its true size as it rests upon Brainiac's ship. And basically that's when Supergirl is able to kind of escape from Brainiac's clutches for a little bit, and then goes after Lex. Takes Lex and is going to hopefully move him away to get some answers, or moves him away hopefully to get some answers. Meanwhile, Brainiac is just saying to send others after Supergirl to get him. But Luthor, of course, is not really relevant anymore. Doesn't really provide any important info. Superman and Lobo are hanging out at Hardcore Station, hoping to find some answers from an old friend. Well, friend may be an inaccurate term, but maybe Lobo considers him as a friend. That's when they decide to interrogate none other than Space Cabbie, everyone's favorite cosmic
Hell yeah.
hero. Lobo's casing him for some answers, and Space Cabbie is able to reveal that Brainiac has really been doing this from a number of different planets, not just Earth. Talking about Brawl and Titan. But before he reveals anything more, General Chakal and some of the other Zarnians show up. But this time they're not looking for a fight. They just want to chat, really just chat with Lobo, not Superman. They kind of don't really give a fuck about him. And that's when Chakal reveals that he's getting older and he's feeling like he needs someone to replace him as the leader of this crazy pack of Zarnians. And he got his eyes on none other than Lobo. And that's when you get a little bit of a fake out moment where you think Lobo is going to lash out at Chakal and he's not going to betray Superman. But he actually decides to accept his offer. And in doing so, Chakal puts up one rite of passage to do so. And that is to, of course, fight Superman, which is where our next issue will pick up. We also have a brief backup with a character we haven't seen in quite a while, none other than Vril Dox, formerly of Legion, formerly of the Omega Men at one point, I think. I gotta fact check that.
Possible. That's possible.
Someone fact check me on that. I think he was in the Omega Men at one point, right after 52, I think. But anyway, the backup really is just about Vril Dox being captured by the Zarnians and then brought back to Lobo. Brought back to Brainiac, who is, of course, highly disappointed and upset with his failure of a son, and is sort of dealing with some stuff in his head right now, dealing with some lack of knowledge. But Vril is kind of chiding him for his own shortcomings, saying he's got the book smarts, but he's not street smart, and doesn't really know anything about life. And that's when he throws Vril into some kind of prison, or sorry, not some kind of prison. Well, he takes Vril up to the enlarged city of Kolu, or city from Kolu, and throws him in some kind of prison or small cell area. And that's when he sees a couple of people he recognizes, like Laurel and Indigo, but also someone who very much cannot be alive, his mother. That is Action Comics 1065. Rob, what did you think about this one?
I'm trying to remember all of it now. Like, I know you just talked about it, but like,
yeah,
there's it's hit or miss depending on the action. It was all very interesting, and I am enjoying this quote unquote event for the time being. But I'm very much enjoying the parts with Superman and Lobo.
Yes,
because Lobo always makes things fun for me. And oh shit, what was throwing in Space Cabbie too? Like that was just like that was an internal squeal moment for me. I love a good old Space Cabbie appearance. Though they got rid of his mustache, I was kind of bummed about that. But yeah, it's interesting. It's got a lot of action. I mean, this is called Action Comics, so why the hell not? And even though this is basically all set up for absolute power, the story itself so far I'm enjoying, and I find very interesting with Brainiac's choices, but we've yet to really get a full grasp of why he's doing what he's doing and what it is exactly he's doing. We know he's building another body. We know it's going to eventually be the Brainiac Queen, and we know he has all these cities captured that he's kept secret, and he's just unleashing them now. But what his ultimate goal is, we have no fucking clue. Right to this point.
Yeah.
And how does the Brainiac Queen end up working with Amanda Waller, if she even does?
Yeah.
There's a lot of questions left to be answered, but for what we have right now, which essentially amounts to Brainiac doing Brainiac things and Superman and Lobo teaming up, like it's reminding me a lot of Superman the animated series. it's just a bit of nonsense and fun. But yeah, like I'm loving it so far. This issue, 8.5 out of 10.
Nice. Yeah, no, 8.5 for me too. It's funny that you mentioned Superman the animated series, because there was a line, I'm trying to remember, I can't remember if it was in this issue or the previous issue, but it was something that I feel like might have actually been taken straight from Superman the animated series, or was very reminiscent of it. But I don't remember. I'll flip through it and I'll let you know what it was. But yeah, no, there's a lot of fun stuff in here. I'm just kind of along for the ride, and seeing end up with this whole Brainiac thing. So yeah, good stuff. Great art as usual.
As usual. Also on the topic of Mike W. Barr, a little bit of trivia for you. Did you know that Aresia Rab was named after Mike W. Barr? At least her last name. Yeah.
Oh.
Her last name is R.R.A.B.
Oh
Rab.
my.
And yeah, that's
Oh
Barr
God.
backwards. Yeah.
Wow. Well, I think
I don't remember the reasoning behind it, but like,
yeah, wow. Which, well, I'm
Barr
realizing,
is B-A-R-R.
Yeah.
And Rab was R-R-A-B.
Was it really? Oh, I thought it was
literally
R-A-A-B.
just flipped.
Oh.
So it was literally just Barr backwards. Named after Mike W. Barr.
No, you're right.
Yeah.
No, I'm thinking of, because there's another comic book writer that did Green Lantern, I think in the early 2000s, called Ben Robb, and his name was spelled R-A-A-B. I think I was just confusing those two.
Oh, okay.
But I think that's especially clever because, if memory serves me correctly, Mike W. Barr did the script or the plot for the Tales of the Green Lantern Corps miniseries where Aresia first appeared.
So that's probably what it is.
That's why, yeah. No,
I knew it had something to do with a Tales issue, but I couldn't remember.
Yeah.
Exactly.
I can't remember.
It's been years since I read that.
Yeah. No, I can't remember if he did the plot or the script, because I think it was like him and Len Wein. I have the issues somewhere. It was like him and Len Wein, and I can't remember who did what, but that would make sense, given that he was a contributor to that book.
Yeah. So there's a bit of Mike W. Barr trivia for you.
Whoa.
His legacy forever lives on in Aresia.
Hopefully she doesn't die again.
Technically Damien as well.
Yes. Technically.
Technically.
But no one counts that.
No.
Except him. If you ever see interviews with him, he takes credit for it all the time. Someone literally asked him, he's like, how do you feel about, Grant Morrison kind of taking your character and doing stuff with it? And he's like, no, that was my character, Reed, Son of the Demon. And it's like, no, it wasn't. No, it wasn't. He was an infant, said no words. He had none of the personality that people associate with Damien.
Yeah, and he was biological.
Yeah.
Damien was grown in a tube.
Yes.
Yeah. So, I know, as you were doing your Action Comics thing, I was kind of taking over the search for that Mike W. Barr interview. So I was reading some stuff about that. He was very heavily on, like, what happened with the Son of Batman and whatnot.
Yeah. For the life of me, I can't remember where I heard that, but I'll find it. Maybe he wasn't even involved. It's just there was some kind of story of like, how are we going to bring back Dick Grayson as Robin, as the sidekick, and not, as the leader of the Teen Titans. And it was like some kind of amnesia storyline. But I gotta find that.
Yeah. Well, while you do that, I will go into our last book for the week, Green Lantern number 11. This is written by Jeremy Adams.
Green Lantern. I've got my Tales of the Green Lantern Corps in my hand right now as I'm fact-checking who did what.
Nice.
Yeah.
So this is written by Jeremy Adams with art from Zermanico and Amankei Noahelapan. Colors from Romulo Fajardo Jr. and letters from Dave Sharp, with an, as always, awesome cover by Zermanico. So we open up on Zamaron, where the keep forgetting his fucking name, that stupid and
fucking Nate was his name. Like, who are you talking about?
the Theros, Grand
Oh,
Leader
yes,
Theros,
Lord
yeah.
Premier Theros.
Lord Premier Theros. I nearly called him Grandmaster Theros, like Grandmaster Flash, but that's not right. Funk Master Theros, you know. That dirty Derlin.
Yeah.
Yeah. Don't call me racist. Derlin suck.
Hey, not all Derlins are like that, okay? Chameleon
Yeah.
Boy is one of the good ones.
Yeah, and there was that guy in fucking The Corpse. Don't remember his name now.
Oh my god.
And he was a bit of a dick too. Okay, Chameleon Boy is good. That's it. All right. So Lord Premier Theros is on Zamaron, requesting that the Zamarons and Queen Agapo join them and just pledge fealty to him and whatnot. And she politely declines. So then he tells his crew, "You may proceed," and the Violet Lantern Central Battery explodes, which leaves the power of love basically powerless for the time being anyway. Which then Theros proceeds to get his personal Green Lantern Corps to attack the Zamarons and have now taken them essentially hostage. Meanwhile, on Earth, Carol Ferris is returning home to her own personal Paul and is just a little worse for wear on emotion. She's feeling very down. The contract with the military is basically done after the drone fiasco, thanks to Hal, and Ferris Air is basically defunct again. And they're looking to start over, but then Carol surprises him with, "Let's just go get married, like today, right now. Since we don't have the money to pay for the whole damn thing, let's just go to Vegas and get it done right away." So he goes to pack and they go to get ready, but Carol still does not seem convinced that this is what she wants to do. She just needs something to latch on to. Meanwhile, on planet Oa in the Resistance Corps base, the group are contemplating what's going on and what to do next. With all the information they've gathered, Hal figures it's time to go straight to the council, the United Planets Council, who, along with Razor, convinces the others that if this is Theros' grand plan, the rest of the council, being from other planets, might not really agree with it. And while the others are very reluctant to the idea, the United Planets lantern that they've captured kind of adds to that theory and says that, yeah, he's doing this on his own. I pledged loyalty to it, and I don't agree with anything. So if you're going, I'll go with you, and I'll be on your side. Kyle is still a little worse for wear, muttering about how the spectrum is splintered and there's no focus. So they leave him behind, along with Salak, and I believe 2-6 stays behind as well, just to watch over him and watch the base, while the rest go straight for the United Planets Council room. Meanwhile, back on Earth, the pair are on the road to Vegas as Carol is off miles away mentally, having a flashback about one of her earliest memories with Hal Jordan, who was in a lot of trouble following his dad's death. And during an interview with the principal gets called away to a classroom. So as he is told he's free to go, but he has a choice to make if he wants to set things straight or continue down the road he's going and leave a shitty life. He decides to steal the principal's car keys and take his nice red sports car. So he gets in, and keep in mind, they're like 12. At least that's what they look like. They look really fucking young. So he steals the car, finds Carol, she hops in, and they go for a fucking joyride in the principal's car.
Oh my
because why the hell not? So now we go back to Oa at the Great Hall, where our intrepid heroes have broken into the council room, and even though the manhunter drones that are there to protect the council are ready to attack, Lord Theros holds them back and asks what the hell is going on. Let them speak. And then Hal proceeds to just reveal everything they have, as well as the UP lantern that looks like an eagle. Also reveals everything he knows, and the council then turns to Theros, a little stunned. But this is when Theros plays his hand and reveals that, we let you get away, Jordan. And this is also, we could find out where your base was, and then we see a panel of Salak and 2-6 getting shot at by, we can only assume, other lanterns and or manhunters, as Kyle is still huddled in a corner. And then we discover that the rest of the council is actually Durlands in disguise. So Theros has essentially co-opted the entire fucking United Planets Council, or at the least what we know of, the Green Lantern Corps, all for himself. We then get another flashback. We jump back to a flashback again with Hal and Carol, who also, as kids, went to Vegas, but are then caught because they're 12 years old playing slots. It's bound to be fucking seen eventually. So they get brought back home. Hal and Carol share a moment. And then we jump back to Carol in the present day with her and her beau in front of the Chapel of Solitude, a Superman-themed wedding venue in Las Vegas. They pick out their kryptonite-styled rings with every color of the kryptonite rainbow. And just as they're doing their ceremony and Carol is about to say, "I do," a violet light appears in front of them, and it is a star sapphire ring. And that's when Carol realizes Hal needs help. Next issue, it's teased that love joins the fight. So Star Sapphire 01 and Sector 2814 is potentially going to come save Hal's life. Wow. I'm fucking stoked. I am so fucking stoked. And in a little backup, House of Brainiac tie-in with the Guy Gardner's bogus Lobo adventure. Yeah, that's what it's called. Part 2. This is written by Jeremy Adams with art from Kevin McGuire, colors from Rosemary Cheatham, and letters from Dave Sharp. Guy, and who he thinks is Lobo, a mystery Zarnian, is on some mysterious planet escaping the space dolphins that the fake Lobo summoned. He says accidentally, but Guy then goes to a local watering hole to gather some information and get a way to communicate to the United Planets, because his ring seems to not be working very well in terms of communication. So he needs to contact the United Planets somehow, let them know that he has Lobo in his custody. The entire time, this Zarnian keeps telling him, "I'm not Lobo," but Guy just doesn't fucking believe him. There's a hilarious moment with 2 whole spit takes in the Zarnian's face, and then we find out that this Zarnian, even though he's not Lobo, still has a lot of bounties on his head, and he let the world, or let the universe, know exactly where he is. And this is when 3 bounty hunters crash into the bar, including Bolfunga the Relentless, that fucking awesome Guy Gardner villain. I love it when he shows up. I know he's an overall Green Lantern villain, but at this point, to me, he's strictly Guy Gardner villain, because Guy just kicks his ass all the fucking time.
Yeah. I mean, aside from him fighting Guy, I think the only other time he's faced up against the Green Lantern was Mogo. And he didn't even really face off against Mogo. It was more just like Mogo was trolling him. Yeah.
I think he might have faced Hal early on, but only like once or twice. Yeah. So yeah, as Guy is about ready to just wipe the floor with the 3 bozos, there is a voiceover from a Brainiac ship. The Zarnian is kind of upset because he says it found me, and they're teleported to a room full of other Zarnians as he shouts out that Brainiac found them. If I believe this is 3 parts, so next issue will be the last part of the backup. So it looks like Guy Gardner's about to enter the House of Brainiac story head on.
Man.
Yeah. I can't wait to see what happens in part 3. Guy is now in a room full of Zarnians, and he's going, where the fuck is Lobo? Yeah, it's been a fun story so far. Guy's bogus Lobo adventure, fucking great. All right, so between the backup and the main story, fucking loved it. Honestly, this has been fun so far. It's been a great run. The buildup has been fantastic, but I'm also thinking like we're just about coming up to a full year of Green Lantern.
Yeah, wow,
and
that's crazy.
we still don't have all the answers I would have wanted to have by now. He's given us some stuff, he's given us some teases, and he's given us some fun adventures, Jeremy Adams has. But I would love to see a lot more answers really soon. It sounds like issue 1213, or it feels like issue 1213, I'll say, it is really going to give us all those answers. And for the first year of Jeremy Adams' Green Lantern, I think it's been a success. Because it's been almost well-paced, if not a little slow for my tastes. But I think at the same time, realistically well-paced, because we're not going too fast. We're definitely not going too fast, but I don't think we're quite going too slow.
Yes. Well, I think we're finally hitting the point where we're getting some momentum, because it felt like the first 6 issues, which I really enjoyed, were just kind of a lot of setup for new dynamics, but with, Sinestro doing what he was doing on Earth, and then eventually becoming a Red Lantern, and Hal getting reacclimated to working at Ferris Air, and also, figuring out the dynamic of his new ring, and like all that stuff was good, and I enjoyed it, and it really let Jeremy Adams kind of do character work with Hal, which is, I remember he talked about that when we interviewed him. He was like, I really just want to kind of get to the basics of like who Hal is a character and make you fall in love with him. So succeeded very well in that.
Definitely.
But I think, it feels like now we're finally getting to, where the story wants to be with all the United Planet stuff, and, the source. Well, I guess the Source Lantern was a carryover from the run that shall not be named, but I forgot about that. So I'm going to pretend it doesn't matter.
Yeah.
But like all the stuff that he's been building towards, like it feels like we're finally hitting that point of the critical story point. So yeah, it has been a year. And I do feel like, no, there hasn't been, a lot of wasted time with pacing or story or anything. But now I'm kind of just wondering like, okay, well, what comes next? Because I don't know about you, but it definitely feels like this story is building towards an even bigger story. And I'm wondering if that's all going to be told in Green Lantern, or if it's going to spill into something bigger. And I know that's wishful thinking, but like this whole, United Planets plot thread feels like it's building into some big spectacular war arc. And I don't know whether that's going to be the case, or, or if we should expect some kind of Green Lantern event / cosmic event next year.
Yeah. I mean, I'll take anything cosmic if it gets us even a couple of miniseries, get the Omega Men in there, maybe have Legion show up once or twice.
Yeah.
Virile Docs just showed up again. Why not? Like, Lobo's intertwined. Why the fuck not? Like, let's have a cosmic story which isn't just about the Lanterns.
Yes.
Let's have DC's version of Annihilation.
Yeah.
Let's fucking do it. Let's just fucking go.
Is DC's version of Annihilation just Invasion? No, but maybe. Both written by Keith Giffen.
Technically Blackest Night, because the story is kind of the same, right? An evil wave that threatens the entire universe and is going to eat it alive, almost quite literally, coming from an antimatter dimension. and the only thing that can stop it is Intergalactic Heroes.
Yeah, well,
Basically the same fucking story.
Well, that's why I feel like, and I don't know. Again, maybe it's just wishful thinking. Maybe it's just cope. Given that Green Lantern War Journal is ending at issue 12, but
Yeah.
I know a little while ago you sent a tweet that basically Jeremy Adams had some kind of, or was having a meeting with Philip Kennedy Johnson to just kind of talk about like Lantern stuff. And,
Yeah.
you know, they were going to be working together, and it's possible that was literally just like, hey, this is what I'm doing. Hey, this is what I'm doing. Okay, cool. Let's just make sure our books are, you know, in synergy or working together. They're not. Anyway, yeah, like we're not stepping on each other's toes. But I don't know. I heard that and I was like, oh my god, they're building towards some big thing that's coming, and I feel like we could still be waiting for that.
I honestly, it could still happen. We've yet to see what's going to happen with Philip Kennedy Johnson going forward, as we do know that War Journal is ending, but it doesn't necessarily mean he's not going to be writing more Green Lantern.
Yeah.
Right? It just means that his story for John with War Journal is done, and maybe he'll be just writing maybe Green Lantern Corps. Who fucking knows? But yeah, like the way this story has progressed and the gravity that it has so far definitely feels like wrapping it up in a simple issue way too small. Like it feels like it definitely needs to have a much bigger finish.
Yeah.
But we'll have to see. Yeah. For this issue though, like we're finally getting around to stuff with Carol Ferris and the Star Sapphire, which has kind of been teased and promised for a few issues now. And it looks like we're not having a Paul situation where Carol's just stuck with this other guy and says, I don't love you, Hal. Like she clearly loves Hal. She clearly fucking loves Hal.
Please don't remind me of that god awful book.
That's been the talk in the Green Lantern chats for like a year now, is this guy is just Hal's version for Paul, but it's better because he's not sticking around for 50 fucking issues. Yeah, we'll be lucky he even makes it past 12. So I'm gonna give it an 8.75 out of 10. This issue, very well done, very well received for me. I just can't wait to see what happens next issue. As far as it goes with like actual plot progression, not much happened. We got Hal and pals invading the council and finding out that Theros has taken over the entire fucking council, and Carol is getting a Star Sapphire ring. That's all we really got. And realistically, if you think about the whole 22 pages, not that much plot. So, but it was still a very enjoyable read.
Oh yeah, no, definitely.
Yeah. You got
I mean, I gave it an 8.25. A lot of my points are kind of similar to yours. I'm like with House of Brainiac. I'm just very much along for the ride and kind of am waiting to see what this story will build towards. You know, will it be the big crazy event that, you know, sees the Lanterns face off against the United Planets with a bunch of other cosmic heroes in tow, or will it just be an arc in Green Lantern? Who knows? But excited to see what comes next.
Yeah. Well, we shall see. So with that, let's get into our top 3 books of the week and favorite moment.
All right. I suppose I can go first. I suppose. At number 3, oh God. Number 3, I had Green Lantern. This is 11, right?
11, yeah.
Green Lantern number 11. Number 2, Action Comics 1065. But number 1, I have to give to Outsiders number 7. Just a really well executed issue. Had tons of great, surprising moments in it, and was just a really good read. But my favorite moment is probably, I don't know. I feel so basic for choosing this one, but who am I kidding? Sometimes you're just a sucker for a cool looking panel, and the double page spread of Lobo and Superman
Oh yeah.
fighting the Zarnians at the beginning of Action Comics 1065 is just cool as hell. Like, I don't know. I can't argue with that. I would love to have it on my wall. That's it.
I don't blame you. It was a cool ass panel.
Yeah.
Yeah. I wish DC would do more posters of just like actual panels and not
That
just
would be awesome.
advertisements, not just covers. Like have some interior panels because there's some panels are fucking gorgeous.
Yes.
Yeah. As for me, I have, believe it or not, Sinister Sons number 4 at number 3. Yeah. I'm really fucking loving that book.
Good.
Outsiders number 7 at number 2, and Green Lantern number 11 at number 1. They did have the same score, but I'm a sucker for seeing Carol Ferris put a ring back on. Coincidentally, at a chapel.
Yeah.
Not the ring she was expecting.
Still a pink ring, though.
Still a pink ring. Exactly. And speaking of that, it's also going to be my favorite moment of the week is seeing that Star Sapphire ring appear in front of Carol, her mention Hal's name, and I know some shit's about to go down next issue. I can't fucking wait.
Hell
It's gonna
yeah.
be so good. At least I hope so. Yeah. And with that, folks, if there's no other things to bring up or mention, we've had our tangents, we've had our fun, we've had our discussions, and it's 7:30 p.m. I think it's time to call it a night.
It's time to call it a night.
Yes. So with that, everyone, remember in the Geek Matrix, everybody has a home. In the Geek Matrix, you are not alone.
Boom.
Peace.